Welcome back to Assen, where we have got a titanic scrap for second position in atrocious conditions in the first race of the weekend for the Lotus Cup Europe. Mark Schipper is leading and has disappeared into the distance. We have then got Gregor Zechka, who is busy depending from Jean-Baptiste Mersnier, Harry Steegmans, Gregory Rass and John Rass. There's 5 of them scrapping for the place. As you can see, John Rass in the orange car just beginning to reel himself in to the tail of Gregory in the white exige. He's chasing down the white 211 of car number 128. That's Harry Steegmans. So the Belgian drivers busy dicing for what is 4th place as they go through the twisty complex that starts the lap here at Assen. Gregory Rass has shown a fairly clean pair of heels to his brother John in the early stages of this race, but 30 minutes is a long time, particularly in such damp and atrocious and wet and miserable rainy conditions at Assen. The drivers really being tested to their limits as Steegmans draws alongside Jean-Baptiste Mersnier into the chicane. Mersnier's got the inside line, so he's able to keep Steegmans at bay for the moment. That means Gregor Zechka can build himself just a little bit of a buffer over Jean-Baptiste Mersnier. Zechka, who has been really one of the stars of this race in the black number 20 exige, as he, I think he's rather lost touch with Mark Schipper, the race leader, but at the same time he's just building that advantage now over Jean-Baptiste Mersnier, who has got, if he can see anything through his mirrors, the white 211 of Harry Steegmans all over his tail, and Steegmans in turn has got Gregory Rass chasing him down. So these 4 cars making their way through the twists and turns, and you can see John Rass as well on their tail. Now this is a good exit from the turn from Harry Steegmans, and through he goes up the inside of Jean-Baptiste Mersnier. Nothing really Mersnier could do. He had run wide, there was enough room for Harry Steegmans, so through he went, and Steegmans carrying that momentum through. Now is he going to be able to draw in onto the tail of Gregor Zechka as they make their way along one of the curving straights here at Assen? It's not really a straight at all, it's just a sequence of very quick corners, which in the dry is not too much of a challenge for the drivers. In the wet, however, as we saw earlier in the race with Steve Williams, it's very treacherous indeed. Steegmans wagging the tail into the final chicane, but he makes it through safely, headlights ablaze. He sets off in pursuit of Gregor Zechka. We've got just under 12 minutes left in the race. You can see the digital clock there on the start and finish straight, so the drivers will know at what point they're going to judge their moves, and John Rass has decided it's time to go for the move on Gregory. He goes to the inside at turn 1. Gregory Rass, however, keeping his foot in around the outside and then moving across to cover the inside line for turn 2, so nothing that John Rass can do there. And actually that's rather worked well for Gregory Rass, because he's now right on the tail of Jean-Baptiste Mersnier as they go through the just slightly cambered right-hander, using the full camber of the road there, and then over the crown into the left-hander that will propel them onto the first section of the back straight. And Mersnier's got it all wrong through the left-hander, and that's going to give, or is it? I thought that was going to give Gregory Rass the opportunity to go through, but Jean-Baptiste Mersnier, with the accidental design, slithered across. He forced Gregory Rass to get on the brakes, and it means John Rass has got the chance to go through. As we've got a change for second, Harry Steegmans goes past Gregor Zechka, and John Rass is going to make the move as well on Gregory, or is he? Gregory holds on the inside line. They go through chicane side by side, but John Rass gains the place. So the battle for second place now rather split itself in 2, because we've got Zechka and Steegmans, and then we've got these 3 exiges squabbling out for 4th position. Still Jean-Baptiste Mersnier as Harry Steegmans drives away from Gregor Zechka, and Mersnier is going to lose out to John Rass as Rass goes through, and Rass is going to get 2 for the price of 1, because he moves the inside of Gregor Zechka, and Zechka, who has held second place for so long, is now slithered off the podium positions. So Gregor Zechka demoted into 4th position. And will he fall any further, because he has got Jean-Baptiste Mersnier right on his tail, as again Zechka doing what he's done all race long, which is just holding the tight line. And if the other cars want to find their way through, they're going to have to drive around him, and that's not something really that Jean-Baptiste Mersnier fancies doing at this stage. We've still got Gregory Rass in fairly close attendance as well, just watching proceedings ahead of him, because in these conditions anything can happen. So they go through the left-hander, then into the final chicane here at Assen, which is traditionally the scene of many a bold overtaking manoeuvre, and so it looks to be for Jean-Baptiste Mersnier, who goes the inside of Gregor Zechka. So Mersnier gains the place, and it goes from bad to worse for Gregor Zechka, although Mersnier a little bit more tentative, getting on the throttle on the exit of the chicane. So there we go, 3 abreast along the start and finish straight. We've got Zechka at the inside, Mersnier in the middle, and then Gregory Rasch weaving around behind them. And that was maybe a little bit naughty from Jean-Baptiste Mersnier, because he moved across on the straight to keep Gregory Rasch at bay. And he then decides, oh well, I'll go around the outside of Gregor Zechka as well. And Zechka is caught in the middle. Rasch goes through 4 wheels on the curb, slides across the track and makes the position stick. Well, they put a lap on David Harvey, who we saw in the first part of the race slithering off towards the Armco. Glad to see that he's recovered, but is some way down the order. Although the pace in this fight for the podium positions is absolutely electrifying. So it's now Gregory Rasch's turn to try and find his way past Jean-Baptiste Mersnier, as Gregor Zechka is just rather losing touch with this battle. And sometimes in the wet weather, once you lose that groove, you lose the concentration, it's very hard to get it back. As Gregory Rasch looks the outside of Mersnier, is going to be braver on the brakes since chicane. Mersnier goes in very hot, he goes in too hot, across the track he goes, slithering in front of Gregory Rasch. He finds the escape road and is going to rejoin, kicking up a bow wave. Well, he only loses the one place because Gregor Zechka is yet to find his way through. So it wasn't all lost for Jean-Baptiste Mersnier. So Gregory Rasch is now chasing down John Rasch, who in turn has still got Henry Steegmans ahead of him, as Jean-Baptiste Mersnier looking a bit lurid as he goes through the left-hander. Is that going to give Zechka the opening? Well, Zechka certainly thinks it will. Mersnier covers the line in time, sort of, and he runs a little bit wide, so it enables Gregor Zechka to draw alongside, and these two living very dangerously indeed. You can see that certainly through the corners they're both sliding somewhat, but they haven't made contact, so they're clearly within their limits, but only just about, I'd say. Here is a cracking production class battle between James Knight and Markus Nikovic, as we've got wave yellow flags, and that's Zechka, and Gregor Zechka's gone off. Well, we saw the cars were sliding around, and well, Zechka's been caught out at the final chicane. So often the case here at Assen, as Gavin Kirby, in a little bit of a lonely race in the lead of the production class. He's pulled well clear of James Knight and the rest. We've got waved yellow flags all over the place now, and that is because number 54, Rob Austin, is recovering to the circuit after a fashion, but it's Mark Schipper into the chicane for the final time, and Schipper has been pretty much the lights to flag victor today at Assen in atrocious conditions. It's Mark Schipper who comes through and takes the win in the first race of the weekend from the Lotus Cup Europe. A superb drive from him. He really has shown the rest of them the way home. Cross line there in second place goes John Rasch. So John Rasch takes second with Gregory Rasch in third position. A very fine scrap for those podium positions as Gavin Kirby makes his way through the chicane for the final time en route to production class honours. So Gavin Kirby has had a tough season, but as he flashes the headlights, he's delighted with that and claims the win in rapidly fading light here at Assen as the drivers receive the applause of the marshals. But it's Mark Schipper who's taken the win from second place John Rasch, third place Gregor Rasch, Jean-Baptiste Mersnier holding on for fourth, with Olivier Cunat rounding out the top five. Well, Christophe Lysandre was the first of the 211s. He won the class, sixth place overall. Second in the 211 class went to Simon Deacon, and third Laurent Febvre. The exiges and the race overall won by Mark Schipper from John Rasch and Gregory Rasch. Was Gavin Kirby who took the production class win from James Knight, who held off Markus Nikovic. And in the invitation class, Kai Kederholm took honours from David Harvey. Well, some delighted drivers on the podium, receiving the applause, and some very nice looking trophies as well. Absolutely delighted.
Mark, congratulations on your overall win. First exige to ever win a Lotus Cup Europe round overall. How did you get on?
Drive very fast. The rain was very good for us, so I could do my little trick in the rain, and it worked out probably.
So second race looking drier. Are you gonna be as quick?
I'm gonna do a rain dance. We need rain. The car isn't fast enough yet for an overall win, of course, but we trying to do the best we can.
Christophe, congratulations on your win. How did
Christophe,
you enjoy your race?
félicitations pour ta victoire de
La course hier
catégorie.
était un peu
Comment
compliquée
était la
pour moi,
course?
je crois compliqué pour toutes les 211.
The race was
parce qu'il y a beaucoup de
quite
pluie, nos voitures
complicated.
sont, je pense,
I
plus
had a lot of
compliquées à-
fights. It was
à
very
emmener,
difficult
sur le mouillé, mais enfin bon,
on the
la
wet,
course était pas mal.
but I did it.
J'espère aujourd'hui qu'il va pleuvoir un peu moins et être beaucoup plus performant.
Gavin, congratulations on your class win. Looked like an easy race for you, but was it?
It was a relatively easy race. The conditions were very, very tricky. Half an hour just couldn't come around quick enough, just trying to keep it on the island. But no, it was a good race. First part of the race was with James, and he kept me honest for a bit, but managed to get past and put a little bit of distance. So the latter half of the race was just managing that gap between James, which yeah, managed to do, and brought it over the line in one piece as well. So it sort of exercised the demons from Zolder in the wet, hitting the wall. So yeah, pleased to win and pleased to have the car in one piece.
Kai, congratulations on your race win. Talk us through your race, please.
It's terrible conditions. We're very close in between Dave Harvey and me for the first 3-4 laps. We were overtaking each other. It was great fun, but everyone was sliding everywhere, so we had to be cautious and not end up in the grave.
But you had a really good close race then.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun for at least the first part.
While the wind's picking up, the clouds are clearing. Will we have better weather for race 2? Find out after the break.